College sports is a major market nowadays. There's so much money exchanging hands from network deals, merchandise, ticket sales, and even at one point video games. In the past few years, the conversation has ramped up if student athletes should get paid. Everyone has their own stance on it, but for me personally, I'm all for it. From athletes like Marcus Lattimore who busted his knees up playing for South Carolina and didn't get a chance to really be NFL ready, till just recently with Zion Williamson who blew a shoe and could have sustained a career-ending injury for Duke. The players put everything on the line while the schools benefit from it. California Senators Skinner and Bradford introduced a bill called SB 206, or the Fair Pay to Play Act. Athletes would be able to earn compensation for their name, likeness, and their image by corporate sponsorship. Nancy Skinner told the Washington Post that the NCAA operates a deeply unfair system. She also went on to say that Zion, under her act, would have been able to sign a shoe deal with Nike for about $10.6 million that year, and would have been able to earn a little cash had he did lose his career. To simply say just pay the athletes, we must first understand where the money's coming from. How do we decide who gets what? Scholarshipstats.com shows that a scholarship can go between $20,000 to $51,000 depending on where you go to school. With all the NCAA divisions combined, scholarships costed nearly $4 billion roughly. Chris Smith from Forbes wrote in July of 2016 that the SEC made about $660 million in revenue, and the payout was roughly $40.9 million per school. The SEC leads the way with the Big Ten right on their heels, and leaving the ACC to start theirs up this year in August to close the gap. You have tournaments, bowl games, and ultimately national championships that give them more of a payout. The money is there, and really all that is left is to figure out who gets what and who is worth more. Not every player is going to be getting paid the same. Just like NFL players don't make what NBA players do, and the same goes for MLB and so on. Let's be honest here, life isn't fair. Nobody is going to make the same. You have superstars that make more than the bench role players in professional sports. One way for these players to get paid is to base it from their rankings from when they were being recruited by the schools. Obviously, your five-star players would be paid more on, and so on down the list. Just like professional sports drafts, where first-round picks receive more than your second and third. Universities make enough to where you can base it off ranking for any sport except golf. With golf, you could hold tournaments and have a sponsor donate to the pot, and if they win, the pot's theirs, just like the PGA, but on a smaller scale with the money-wise. A lot of people argue that they should not be paid. A few say that the scholarship and the fact they get to play on a national level for exposure is payment enough. Or that the fact of football and basketball, with the revenue they generate, helps keep the smaller sports functioning. Most of these players come from poverty or families with financial struggles, and the fact that they cannot work while they playing is crazy. They can only work while it's summer, and they must have permission from the schools and the NCAA. That's absurd to me to need permission to have a job for some income. That statement alone makes me look at the NCAA as a slave master with the athletes as the slaves, while they sit back and collect big-time money. Smaller sports could be moved to clubs and hold fundraisers and raise money for themselves. Gene Demby from the Code Switch podcast said in March of 2018 that the NCAA tournament would make about $771 million alone. Some would argue that the smaller schools wouldn't spend the money on the top-tier players, but honestly, like they do now anyways. They don't have to. It would definitely end the monopoly on it, and eventually it would work itself out in the end. Most of the top-tier players go to the bigger schools, so it's not that big of a hit. In conclusion, should we pay the student athlete? Yeah. The evidence is there that the market in college is drawing in big money. From TV deals to endorsements, The universities are raking in millions of dollars while the players are risking everything, including the dreams of going pro. These athletes are trying to reach to the next level, and in one play, one wrong move, it's gone. They should be able to make a little bit of money seeing that they are bringing in the crowds for the schools, and also the reason for ticket and merchandise sales. Hopefully after this, you'll feel the same way too.